Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 210, over this last weekend of August. Man, where did the summer go? Not sure about you, but it has just flown by for me. Anyhow, I hope you're enjoying the remaining weeks of summer, as I am, and thanks for tuning in to the program. We do have a great Tech It Out show planned for you this hour, and it's a packed one too, so let's get right to it. We're going to first chat with Consumer Reports about the state of broadband in the country. LG has a new line of computer monitors to promote better health. TikTok sensation Chem teacher Phil will join us to talk STEM studies. And we'll learn about a new invention for those who own an electric vehicle as a new way to power their home. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by Asus for those in search of incredible, which I'll tell you more about shortly. But let's officially kick off the show with our first interview. Not all internet service providers, or ISPs, are the same, nor is the level of service comparable among those with the same ISP. What is the state of internet access in the country? And is it affordable? And is it available across the entire US? Well, to find out answers to all these questions, Consumer Reports, or CR, has a new initiative that they want you to know about. Joining us on the line to chat is Jonathan Schwantes. He is the Senior Policy Counsel at CR. Welcome, Jonathan, to Tech It Out.
Great. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Sure. Now, before we talk about this new initiative, tell us a bit about Consumer Reports. And I do understand they've gone through a bit of a rebranding to CR.
Yeah, we went to a green branding scheme 3 or 4 years ago. And I've been with CR for about 5 years. But Consumer Reports was founded in 1936, and we are an independent nonprofit that has a really simple mission. We work to create a fair and just marketplace for all. Now, most folks know or grew up with the magazine, but CR is now more than that. Sure, we test products and, of course, cars and trucks. We're famous for that. But I think what makes us unique is our mix of investigative journalism, research, and advocacy to empower consumers, inform people's purchasing decisions in all marketplaces, and influence businesses to improve the products and services that they deliver. And we also work to strengthen norms, laws, and regulations. And I think for us, it's really important that we do that with data, with science and evidence.
Mm-hmm. All right. With that in mind, then, Jonathan, tell us about this new initiative to investigate the state of internet across the country. What are you setting out to find? Is it to better understand broadband affordability?
That is one of our goals. The project, which we've entitled Let's Broadband Together, it was launched last month with a really simple goal. What are people paying for internet service in this country? And what factors determine that price? Now, you would think that's a simple question, but finding the answer is anything but easy. And why is that? Well, it's a combination of factors. ISPs, some are better than others. The bills are really confusing, hard to understand. For example, if you have a bundle package, so if you're still taking your video service through a cable company, kind of what I grew up with, that might be bundled in with phone service and internet service. And when you get that bill, sometimes that bill does not have a line item for internet service. You just don't know. But we know from consumers through the experience of like, hey, I'm going to cut the cord and get rid of that $120, $130 bundle and thinking you're going to save some money. But when you do that, you find out the internet service was maybe $80 or $90, and you're kind of like scratching your head trying to do the math. Like, is the video and phone service really only $30? The answer is no, it's not. But yeah, so that's one of the things. But also, we're finding anecdotally, of course, that in markets where there's competition, for that same, if let's say, you're in one neighborhood where there's no competition, you're paying $80 a month for broadband for like a typical plan, 250, 300 megabits per second download. But you go to maybe you move and go to a neighborhood where there's more than one provider. That same ISP is charging significantly less for that same service tier. We want to find that out. We want to understand the factors that determine price. And where we can find those factors at lower price for consumers, advocate for policies to, for example, increase competition. I'd be also remiss if I didn't mention that there's so many fees. It's kind of famous in telecom industry. Like you have the price, but then it's not really the price you end up paying when you get your first monthly bill because of all, yes, you're always going to be paying taxes, death and taxes, right? But all these other fees that get added on, maybe you're renting a modem router from the cable company. Maybe there's these fees you don't understand. Like, well, what is the network access and maintenance fee? Well, I can tell you it's just made up by the cable company. But yeah, that also adds confusion to what people are paying for internet service.
And even if people are paying a comparable rate, the performance may vary, right? Or you would think logically that you're going to pay more for faster speeds or for unlimited data. There's other variables, not just the bottom line. So does this initiative take all that into account?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. I really should point out that there's many different ways to try to answer that question. What are consumers paying? I mean, I think other think tanks have gone onto websites and what we call scrape the advertised rates to try to figure out what's Comcast charging in this city, what's Spectrum charging in this other city. Mm-hmm. That's one way of doing it. You could also rely upon company reported data that they report to the Federal Communications Commission. But that's sort of, well, is that really what people are paying on the ground? That's kind of like a hotel rack rate, right? Like, you could rely upon company reported data, but what we want to do with this initiative is look directly at consumer bills. So we are asking consumers to submit their bill to us. Of course, we're going to protect their privacy and only really take the information that's important for the study, which is pricing information, all this information about fees. We want to know zip codes so we can kind of map out what people are paying where. But we think that's where our project is unique, is that we're looking directly at the most pure source that we can, which is consumer bills. And by doing that, we'll have a good sense of what we think the best sense of what consumers are paying for internet service.
We are chatting with Jonathan Schwantes. He is Senior Policy Counsel at CR, formerly Consumer Reports. Tell us a bit about this congressional infrastructure package that could include the need for a broadband nutritional label.
Well, there's lots to like in the broadband, not the broadband infrastructure bill. It's the infrastructure bill that included funding for broadband. We at CR firmly believe that broadband is as vital a resource, an infrastructure resource, as roads and sewers and water, electricity.
No doubt, not just highways, but the super information highway.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, we did a survey earlier this year, and 76% of Americans, more than 3 out of 4, believe that internet service is as important as water and electricity.
Wow. Yeah.
Sort of the chaser is it's not regulated like a utility, so there's no guarantee of universal access or affordability. But getting back to the infrastructure bill, yeah, there's lots to like in there. There's $42.5 billion for direct broadband grants to states to build new broadband infrastructure and deploy it to unserved areas. And when you take some of that money, you, the ISP, could be private, could be public, you're required to offer consumers a low-cost option. We think that's a step forward towards affordability. You mentioned the broadband label. That is something we've been fighting for a long time. We make a very, very simple comparison that if you have window stickers for new cars and trucks, and you have nutrition facts for pretty much any packaged food good at the supermarket, why can't we have an easy to understand broadband label that just spells out what consumers are paying, what are the additional fees, when does your promotional rate expire, what kind of download and upload speeds are you going to get? Because if we believe broadband is increasingly important as a vital, essential service, then we need to have clear pricing transparency so consumers can understand what they're paying for.
Amen. Any other advice you have when someone is seeking a new internet service provider?
Well, I always start, because I get asked that questions a lot by friends and family. Now, for many of us, like myself, working from home, you're going to need a robust internet connection. You're going to need broadband, which is, code for really fast internet. So you have to understand the different technologies. Now, most folks, it's going to be your cable company now dressed up as your ISP. But, in many cases, you just have one, you only have one provider. If you're lucky, maybe 2. But you have to understand that second provider might be your old telephone company providing you DSL service, which I'm sorry, it's outdated and it really can't keep up with it doesn't deliver the broadband speeds you need for today's applications.
Sure.
As far as resources, Mark, that's great. We have somebody we've partnered with on this project, Broadband Together. It's called Broadband Now. a lot of broadband going on today. But broadbandnow.com, they have a easy, enter your zip code. It's not foolproof. It's not perfect because, a lot of the satellite companies will come up as an option. But I'm telling you, if you live in, downtown DC like I do, you're not going to be able to hang a satellite out of your apartment window. But yeah, that gives you a sense of who are the players in your neighborhood. If you're looking for a low-cost option, like the emergency broadband benefit being administered by the FCC, there's another resource online called everyoneon.org that can give you a sense of whether or not, if there are providers in your neighborhood that are offering low-cost plans. But those are some online resources to at least give you a picture of who's providing service in your area.
All right. With that in mind, is there a website that you'd recommend, Jonathan, to learn more about the CR initiative?
Yeah, that's another broadband website, but that's broadbandtogether.org.
Okay, broadbandtogether.org. And I'd love to chat with you in a few months from now about 5G. Is it time for the third wave of cord cutting in the home? First was cable, let's say, or a landline. And then now, if cellular data speeds can match or exceed your home internet, maybe ISPs should be concerned if they're not in the wireless space. So
that is a fantastic topic for discussion, Mark. And yeah, I'll just preview now that if 5G delivers on the promise that all the big wireless carriers are having us, want us to believe, hallelujah.
Competition is good for the customer.
Yes, it is. If you're not going to have rate regulation, you better have competition.
Jonathan Schwantes, great to chat with you. Have a great rest of your summer.
You too, Mark. Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out when we catch up with LG. Stick with us.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. And that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops, monitors, smartphones, smartwatches, tablets, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. Now that back to school time is here, students should know there's some seriously cool tech to take advantage of to help you get your work done and perhaps have a little fun after school hours too. I'm referring to a big and clear monitor connected to your laptop or desktop computer. Joining us to talk about a great pick for your dorm room or a home office, and that also goes for moms and dads getting back to work this time of year, we're joined by Kyla Francis, brand manager of business solutions at LG Electronics. Welcome back to the show, Kyla.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
We had you last on in April to chat projectors. So we're obviously sticking with the display category, but now we're talking monitors. It's perfect timing. With that in mind, why don't you tell us about the new LG Ultra Series Ergo monitors?
Yeah, so we launched our first true ergo monitor in Canada last year with the ultra fine lineup. They're basically designed to extend and retract, swivel, and adjust the tilt, pivot, and height of the monitor. So it allows you total comfort. We started the ergo concept with the ultra fine series, and now we've extended it to our ultra gear lineup, our LG ultra wide lineup, and also the ultra gear lineup. As a quick refresher, ultra gear is for the gamer, the true gamer. Ultra wide is mainly for, multitaskers, work from home or learn from home. And ultra fine is kind of for the professional creators or photographers or movie editing professionals. So now there is a ultra monitor ergo within each of our lineups.
Okay, and ergo is, I guess, short for ergonomic, which refers to, so I often write about this. So how do you work best with your technology to minimize wear and tear on your body? So it's comfortable, keeping in mind your neck, your eyes, your back. Obviously, that's key with these monitors. What would you say your favorite features would be for this LG Ultra Series ergo monitors, ergonomic monitors?
All of our monitors are equipped with, the amazing innovation from LG. But the LG's monitor ergo, it's basically the stand. So the ergo concept is created with, ultimate comfort in mind. So it's going to help you boost productivity, maintain a stable posture, customize your desk setup, which is important, and it's easy to set up. So the stand is what really stands out about these monitors.
Okay, that makes sense because you guys obviously you nail the display itself, like the actual optics of it. Now you're investing more in the design of these things to better suit our postures and how we work with technology. I also love, by the way, with those ultra wide monitors that it's like having two monitors in one.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to buy two of them, which is trendy. I get it. But I like how this saves you space. But they're super wide, so you can multitask, as you mentioned. It's great for productivity's sake. You can have several windows open at the same time. I know a lot of students like to multitask like that, if my kids are any indication. So a handy feature to have, though I know we'll get more into that in a moment. But speaking of this stand, you mentioned that there's an adjustable arm. Can you tell us more about that and how that helps us ergonomically speaking?
Yeah, well, it comes with a C-type clamp. So, it easily attaches to the desk.
Okay.
So it can go to the edge of the desk or a table. So again, you can have a clutter-free workspace. So, whether you're at your kitchen table or the island, it just really clamps to that space, whether it's a desk or wherever you're working within your home or work. So it can be flexible, right? So you can pivot it, you can turn it,
right.
Swivels up to 280 degrees. So, whether you're standing or sitting, it can be at the perfect eye level.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I always tell people to make sure that they don't turn their neck to look at their monitor. Make sure that you position your chair, if you have to look straight on, and make sure it's at eye level and have adequate lighting. And all that is super important, especially as we're now, because of the pandemic, using our computers for work, like for productivity's sake, whether you're working remotely at a company or you're a student. We're using computers for entertainment. We're streaming video and we're playing games, and for communication, right? We're video chatting over Zoom, and we're, reading email and all that. So it's really important to take comfort in mind without sounding too preachy. So I really like this. So I really like this line of monitors that LG has developed. With that in mind, a lot of people opt for a laptop opposed to a desktop because they can bring it around, from a coffee shop to the home to the office if they're back now, or to the classroom. But there is something to be said for a good stationary workplace in the home. So how would you say the Ultra Series Ergo monitors help you achieve this? You can connect this to a laptop. It doesn't have to be a desktop, right?
No, it doesn't. You can use a laptop or a desktop, and it doesn't matter which laptop. If you have a Mac, you would, probably use the Ultrafine because that has the best connectivity to the MacBooks.
Okay.
The time you spend at work should be a time where you can produce optimally. So, as more people are embracing a hybrid work model, you need to ensure your home environment is set up for success. So if you have a cluttered desk where you're constantly hunched over, straining your eyes and neck, looking at the screen, it's not customized for your comfort.
Sure.
With this new monitor Ergo series, you can actually customize your setup, depending on your mood, right? Because you can just move it around so easily.
Yeah, great point. We are chatting with Kyla Francis, brand manager of business solutions at LG Electronics, given that it is back to school time and back to work. For those who have maybe taken a bit of a relaxing summer, that it's a good time to talk about monitors, as that's your window to your online world, whether it's connected to a laptop or a desktop. There's a new line of LG Ultra Series Ergo monitors designed for ergonomics. I know prices start at $499 for these monitors, but is there a website that you'd recommend to learn more?
You can definitely check out your local retailer right now for some great back to school promotion pricing. And you can always go to lg.com for more information.
All right, Kyla, have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
We're going to catch up with TikTok sensation Chem Teacher Phil when we return. Stay with us. You're listening to Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out on the Radio America Network. Known to his 3.3 million TikTok followers as Chem Teacher Phil, Philip Cook has been a high school science teacher for more than 2 decades and is currently a senior science instructor at Culver Academies in Culver, Indiana. He's joining us now to chat about the importance of STEM education. Of course, that's science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as something seemingly low-tech that's ideal for students, friction pens, and how it does relate to STEM. Welcome, Philip. Good to chat with you.
Great to be here, Mark.
Now, before we dive into our topic, please tell us how you became Chem Teacher Phil on TikTok. What were you trying to achieve through social media?
TikTok for me was purely the suggestion of a student of mine. I was starting out the year doing some demonstrations, and the student said, hey, you should put that on TikTok. I didn't have a TikTok account, so I created one and made my first video. And that was the start of things. And I love how the platform has given me a way to reach out to a broad audience and be able to get them curious about science. One of my mantras is never stop learning. I've always been a curious person, and that's also why I'm working with Pilot, because their friction pens actually present a lot of opportunities for kids to be curious about something as innocuous as a pen that might have erasable ink. But there's actually a lot of great science going on in there, and there's some lesson plans that Pilot has developed with STEM.org that are free and downloadable for other teachers, which I think is great to give teachers a resource right before the beginning of school that they can use with their students to encourage STEM and STEM topics.
So with that in mind, I will ask you more about the pens in a moment, but STEM as a whole, as I mentioned, of course, off the top, I know a lot of our listeners know that it stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. How can parents encourage STEM outside of the classroom?
Well, I think the best way is to kind of take advantage of available resources that might be online that they can do for home, that are designed to be used at home. And that's actually where Pilot's Friction work with the curriculum experts at STEM.org comes in handy, because they've got a lot of lessons geared towards a wide audience of kids from grades K through 12, where they can do these experiments in the comfort of their own home and learn about the thermosensitive properties of something like an ink pen that's erasable using heat. Get them interested in STEM topics and then see where that leads.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of where it leads, of course, not only is it great to encourage their imagination and sharpen those skills like engineering and coding and all that, but this can also help them land a very lucrative career going forward. So it's not just about the education component, but post-school, what kind of career they may be able to take advantage of. So let's talk a bit more about these friction pens, Philip. So that's F as in Frank, RIXION. How are they ideal for STEM learning? I need to understand this connection because it seems like a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, it might seem strange when we're talking about pens and then you try and bring in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But the chemistry involved in those pens' ink is actually perfectly suited for talking about STEM and how you can use something like an erasable pen to teach science concepts. The ink itself is amazing, and you have lots of opportunities where you can use the lessons that are available from frictionstem.com actually to be able to explore the chemical properties of the ink inside those pens. Lets kids do things and ask questions and be curious, because if you take an ink pen that's erasable, that's one thing, but if you show them an experience where these friction pens, you can use a heat source to make the ink seemingly disappear and then use a source that's cold to make it bring back, that's going to get kids curious and interested in a pen that might otherwise be uninteresting.
Got it. We are chatting with Philip Cook. He is known as Chem Teacher Phil among his 3.3 million TikTok fans. He has these videos that gets kids excited about science and technology. We are chatting today about friction pens and its connection to STEM studies and with the STEM.org authentication. Why is that important?
It's important because it recognizes the science that goes into developing something like the Pilot friction pen. And the authentication comes from the fact that the whole development of the product embodies science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in its production. And what it can do is help drive critical thinking skills and help kids be curious through the actual product itself, not just for its primary use as a pen, as a writing instrument, but also in the fact that you can do lots of interesting chemical and physical demonstrations using that same writing tool. I think that's what makes it actually unique, in that yes, you can throw it in a backpack, you can do some experiment, you can take lab notes with it, or you can do your math homework, but you can also do lots of interesting demonstrations in the class that gets kids curious about STEM.
Also, just one thing I may add, if I can, Philip,
Sure.
is that as amazing as these tech tools are, and I am a technology evangelist, so of course I'm a firm believer in laptops and other devices to help a child learn, but there is something to be said about handwriting notes and how sticky that could be, right? I mean, I think it's been proven over the decades that if you handwrite notes during a class, you may actually retain that information better than typing it out, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And in fact, in my classes, I encourage students to handwrite because there is a greater retention.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can use that writing instrument for a lot of different things in the same classroom, like a science classroom, I think just makes it an invaluable tool.
Now, before we wrap up, Philip, how else can we encourage STEM in our students? Can you tell us a bit about this grant program and how we can nominate a student for consideration?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a couple of things that I would say about how you can best encourage students is, number one, give them opportunities both at home and at school. And that's where you take advantage of the lesson plans that are available from frictionstem.com as a part of Pilot's work with the experts at stem.org. And you can also go to frictionstem.com to learn more about Pilot's Science Friction STEM grant program. And this is a program geared towards middle and high school students that excel in their use of STEM techniques to make the world a better place, both at school and in their broader communities. And the program itself grants up to $50,000 for schools and students to be able to use to further STEM education and the students' education as well.
All right, awesome. Again, that website is frictionstem.com, F like Frank, RIXION STEM.com. And of course, you can follow Chem Teacher Phil on TikTok with that handle. Great to chat with you, Philip. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
As promised, when we return on Tech It Out, we're going to learn all about dcbel R16. This is a brand new invention for those who own an electric vehicle as an alternative way to power their home. Very cool stuff. In the event of an emergency, it also folds in solar. This show is powered by ASUS, creating technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. ASUS, for those in search of incredible. Visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. Stay with us. We'll be right back with a lot more Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
You're listening to Tech It Out. Thank you for tuning into the program. It is powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, head over to asus.com/US/radio to see their entire laptop lineup, including their VivoBooks, which are sort of everyday laptops with lots of style and color and power. ZenBooks, which is cutting-edge innovation with ScreenPad and other dual-screen laptops and some amazing technologies there. ExpertBooks for more of a business-grade laptop with advanced security, long battery life, and more. Chromebooks, which is great for students and often less expensive. And there's also the ROG, or Republic of Gamers line of computers that if you're a gamer, you know all about that brand. That's also owned by ASUS. So check it all out again at asus.com/US/radio. That's asus.com/US/radio. For those who drive an EV, an electric vehicle, or those thinking about it, what if there was one device that you could have at home that offered EV supercharging, backup power in case of a blackout, and solar charging all rolled into one product? Well, it's coming this fall, and it's called dcbel R16 from a Montreal-based company called dcbel. And joining us on the line to chat is Marc-André Forget, CEO of dcbel. Welcome, Marc-André, or MA for short. I understand people call you MA. How are you?
Thanks for the invitation.
Sure, great. So why don't we jump right in, MA? At a high level, what is dcbel R16 all about? And we should tell our listeners that dcbel is spelled dcbel.
Yeah, that's correct. So dcbel, in a nutshell, is a home energy server. It's basically a single device that can charge your car, power your home during a blackout, and serve also as a solar inverter, basically using the sun as a main fuel for your home.
Okay, so it's a 3-in-1 product all tied to energy and power. Who would you say it's for exactly? It is for EV drivers?
dcbel is for EV drivers that want to charge their car faster at home. So it's a better EV charger. We can charge as fast as 1 mile a minute, no matter which car, because it's the world's first residential DC charger. So it's kind of a supercharger for home. But for EV drivers, there's also another interesting features. dcbel is a bi-directional charger. It means I can use your car to power your home during a blackout. And I think this is a game changer.
All right, so let's talk a bit more about that. So let's say there's a power outage, there's a bad storm, and then you've got one of these devices coming this fall, dcbel R16, maybe in your garage or a carport or something. How can it help power your home?
Simply, dcbel can be connected to a residential battery. LG Resu, for example, can power your home. But the most interesting features is that you just connect your electrical vehicles to dcbel. Dcbel recognize there's a blackout, there's an outages. Dcbel is going to island your home from the network, protecting the network, protecting your home. As soon as this is done, we're going to start to extract energy from the car and power your home. And we can, a typical EV, let's say a Nissan Leaf, a Chevy Bolt, can power your home in the US territory for 12 to 16 hours while still leaving you with almost 40% of your battery. So more than enough energy to go somewhere else in case you need.
All right, that's great. Just to circle back for a moment, MA, about the DC charger. These are those fast or supercharged stations that EV drivers may stop at when they're on the road somewhere, opposed to the ones that you have at home, which may be a 120 volt, a regular AC plug, or a 240 that you may have installed when you buy an EV.
That is absolutely fair. Something perhaps to add with is that every single EV in the world are using DC power. The fact is DC energy is not available at home. I just don't want to go into the good old Edison versus Tesla war from a century ago. But the fact is that every single EV in the world right now, for the purpose of charging at home, has to carry what we call an AC to DC converter inside every single home. And this is a very limitation because it's bulky, it's expensive, but they have to do it because up to now, up to dcbel, there were no way to charge a car directly with better DC power at home. So now you understand why fast charger are using DC energy, because you need to convert a lot of energy to charge a battery fast. But dcbel, this is where it's really the game changer here. We will allow eventually to a very significant price reduction in EV going forward.
Okay, great. So we've covered the fact that it could supercharge your vehicle, so faster speeds to juice up your electric vehicle. It's got backup power in case of a blackout. Let's learn a little bit more about the solar charging.
Well, dcbel is also your solar inverter. In the fact, we are probably the most powerful residential solar inverter on the market. So again, DC power, solar energy, solar panel is all about DC. So you need to basically convert DC to AC to make it useful inside your home. This is where it starts to be very convenient because you're using the same device, the dcbel, to convert your solar panel energy straight into dcbel in AC for your home, or keep it in DC to power your car. By doing this, we are a more efficient way to power your car and your home.
Now, to be clear, you don't need to be technically savvy to use this. I mean, you're talking about AC and DC, and I don't want our listeners to think that they need to be Edison or Tesla to figure it out, right?
Oh, you're absolutely correct. We start the dcbel company a bit more than 5 years ago with one thing in mind. We need to make energy much more simpler for people. And you know what? Today, who's taking care of the energy for us? Very little, right? And now we need to figure out which electricity contract in some area. Should I install or not solar panel? How I'm going to charge my car? This is a lot of different questions.
And we're going to get some more answers to those questions with dcbel when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We are chatting with Marc-André Forget. He is the CEO of a Montreal-based company called dcbel, spelled dcbel, and they are launching the dcbel R16 product this fall in the US market for those who own an EV. Tell us more about the app, the companion app that works with the dcbel R16.
Yes, the companion app it's a very simple one. We want to provide you from an holistic point of view, right? You're just looking at the app. And we want to tell users, okay, how much power do you have in reserve in case you got a blackout? This is important for states like Texas and California, for examples, right? How much clean energy is coming to your home at any single point in time? What was your impact on your energy budget? So in a single point of view, you have access to all of those information, and the artificial intelligence just take the decision for you. But then you're always in control. You can tell dcbel says, I want you to try to find a way, even though it's a more expensive energy, to power my home only with clean energy. So by setting those configuration in decibel, the artificial intelligence will change its way to behave and will find a way to provide you more clean energy, even though at a higher cost. But sometimes, you have less luck in life and you need to, cost is important for you. You can say to decibel says, yeah, I want to be clean, try to be as clean as possible, but can you reduce my energy cost and give me advice? This is where the app is so useful. You can just indicate this is what you want, and definitely decibel will find its best to lower your cost of energy, or for example, give you all the range you need for your car. So it's really a simple app designed as a gaming device. Our designers came from the game industry. We make it super accessible. Even my daughter really start to love using it, 9 years old, and she says, hey dad, you just built a big iPad for the energy, and this is just the feeling we want for every member of the family. Everyone can use it.
Before we wrap up, MA, you talked about it being easy to install, but do you also need to install like solar panels? I mean, is this something that you should have done professionally, or it's okay to do it on your own?
Well, decibel is a 3-in-1 device. But to have value, you don't need to have everything installed at once. Most people, if you can embark in the decibel journey and just buying decibel as an EV charger, for example, or you want clean energy and you install your decibel with your solar panels, and later on, you're going to basically start to use the EV charger. We provide value, even though you do not have to install the three aspects of the device all at once. That being said, decibel is installed by our network of SHIP, smart home integration partners. So we create our own installer network. They are a partner of us. They are professional solar installers that's going to come to your house, make an evaluation, and making sure it's going to be installed simply, well done each time. So the SHIP network is enabled now in the Bay Area in California. We start this fall, and our SHIP network should cover all continental North America by the late 2022.
Okay, and that includes Canada.
That's what it's with Canada. We're working very hard to have the product available in Canada. The demand is very high right now in California, Texas, and Florida, as you can expect. So we need to ramp up our manufacturing process to be able to serve the Canadian market. But yes, the team is working very hard to make it available in Canada.
And then finally, MA, how much does the Decibel R16 system cost? And what's the best website to learn more?
Well, decibel price start at $5,000. Obviously, for $5,000, the decibel system can provide you your solar inverters, dual charger. All the artificial intelligence system called Orchestrate OS is included. Then how it's going to be installed into your home, depending of the size of your home, depending of your solar needs, your blackout needs, and so on. Professional installations and other costs may be added into the system. Decibel return on investment can vary per region, but it can be between 3 to 7 years. You will recover the cost of your investment. And after that, the decibel system is designed to last more than 15 years and just going to bring you back more money in your pocket. And this was the goal of building that decibel system in the first place. More cost-effective and green energy for all.
Okay, and then finally, the website to learn more?
So if you want to know more, dcbel.energy, ENERGY, dcbel.energy, I think is the best place to start.
Okay, again, it's spelled dcbel.energy to learn more.
That's absolutely correct.
All right. MA or Marc-André, great to chat with you. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck this fall. Pleasure chatting with you. All the best.
Thank you very much for the invitation. All the best.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed a fresh new Tech It Out. For those heading back to school this week, don't forget to properly back up your important files just in case something happens to your laptop or desktop. I always use Western Digital SSDs, SanDisk devices connected to my computer. I like external storage. I also take advantage of the cloud, but I like a local offline backup solution as well. Head over to westerndigital.com to learn more, or sandisk.com. I'm wishing you a fantastic rest of your last weekend of August. Enjoy it, and I look forward to catching up with you next time for another episode of Tech It Out. Be well, everyone. Ciao.